Everyone called me a monster. A wicked stepfather who tormented his family. At my wife's funeral, I thought I'd finally escaped judgment. But when her daughter stood up to speak, the truth she revealed made everyone gasp. And for the first time in years, people saw me differently. For 15 years, I've given my family everything. A beautiful home in the suburbs. Private schools for my stepdaughter, Maya. Vacations twice a year. My wife, Susan, never had to work. I climbed the corporate ladder to provide this life. People saw a successful family man, a devoted husband, a provider. That's who I was. That's who I tried to be. But lately, things had changed. Maya, now 17, barely spoke to me. Susan seemed tired all the time, withdrawing into herself. How was school? I'd ask Maya. Silence. Susan, are you feeling all right? Silence. The house that once felt warm now felt like a tomb. I didn't understand what I'd done wrong. At work, people started treating me differently. Hushed conversations that stopped when I approached. Co-workers who once joined me for lunch now made excuses. My boss, Gerald, called me into his office. Richard, there are concerns about your home life. My stomach dropped. What concerns? He looked uncomfortable. Just rumors. But maybe you should address them. Susan told me Maya had been seeing the school counselor. For what? I asked. Susan wouldn't meet my eyes. She's been having a hard time, Richard. With everything. Everything? What does that mean? Susan finally looked at me, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before, a doubt. She says you make her uncomfortable. 2 days later, police came to our door. Child Protective Services had received a report. Maya had told her counselor that I was controlling and intimidating. That she felt unsafe in her own home. They questioned me for hours. I've never touched her. I insisted. I've only tried to be a good father. But the way they looked at me said they'd heard it all before. Susan asked me to move out temporarily. Just until this gets sorted, she said, crying. I believe you, Richard. But Maya needs space. And the investigation. I packed my bags, feeling like a criminal in my own home. 15 years of marriage, of sacrifice, of providing, and now I was sleeping in a hotel, accused of being a monster. Word spread through our small community like wildfire. The wicked stepfather. The predator. Parents pulled their children away when they saw me. My barber of 10 years cancelled my appointment. At the grocery store, people whispered and stared. I was convicted without a trial, destroyed without evidence. My lawyer, Ms. Patterson, was blunt. Richard, even if you're cleared, your reputation is destroyed. Allegations like this stick. People will always wonder. But I didn't do anything. I shouted. She looked at me with pity. In cases like this, innocence doesn't always matter. Perception is reality. And right now, everyone perceives you as guilty. Then everything got worse. Susan collapsed at work, stage for cancer. It had been growing silently for months. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, sitting beside her hospital bed. She looked so frail. I thought it was stress, she whispered. From everything with Maya. Richard, there's something you need to know. Maya isn't telling the whole truth, Susan began, gripping my hand. She's been, suddenly, alarms blared. Nurses rushed in. Susan's vitals were crashing. Sir, you need to leave, they ordered, pushing me out. I never heard the rest of what she wanted to say. That was the last conversation we ever had. Susan fell into a coma. Maya came to the hospital but wouldn't speak to me, wouldn't even look at me. I sat in that waiting room for 3 days, watching my wife slip away, branded as a monster by everyone around me. The nurses treated me like I didn't deserve to be there. Maybe they were right. Susan died on a Tuesday morning as the sun rose. I was there, alone. Maya had gone home for a few hours of sleep. My wife, my partner of 15 years, was gone. And with her died whatever truth she'd been trying to tell me. I was left with nothing but accusations, isolation, and grief. Planning Susan's funeral was another nightmare. The funeral director kept asking if other family members should be consulted. What he actually means is that, should the accused stepfather really be making these decisions? I paid for everything, the casket, the flowers, the service. It was the last thing I could do for Susan. The day before the funeral, Maya's grandmother called me. "Richard, Maya wants to speak at the service. I think you should let her." Susan would have wanted it. I agreed. What choice did I have? Let the girl who destroyed my life have the final word at her mother's funeral. It felt fitting somehow. The church was packed. Susan was loved by everyone. I sat in the front row, feeling hundreds of eyes boring into my back. People who'd once been friends now looked at me with contempt. Maya sat across the aisle with her grandmother, refusing to acknowledge my existence. I was a ghost at my own wife's funeral. Susan's mother spoke first, sharing memories of her daughter. Her sister spoke about their childhood. Friends shared stories of Susan's kindness, her laugh, her spirit. Each person carefully avoided mentioning me, as if I'd never existed in Susan's life. I was being erased from her story in real time. Then Maya stood. The room grew silent. Everyone knew about the allegations. They were probably expecting her to condemn me publicly, to give her mother's funeral the dramatic ending the scandal deserved. She approached the podium, unfolding several pages of handwritten notes. My heart pounded. This was it, my final destruction. My mother asked me to read this if she didn't make it, Maya began, her voice shaking. She wrote it in the hospital, during one of her lucid moments. She made me promise to tell the truth at her funeral, no matter how hard it was. She took a deep breath. So here's the truth about my stepfather, Richard Hayes. Richard didn't make me uncomfortable because he was inappropriate, Maya read, crying now. He made me uncomfortable because he reminded me that I had rules and responsibilities. When my mom got sick, before she even knew it, she got stricter. Richard backed her up. So I lied. The church erupted in gasps. Maya continued, her voice breaking. I told the counselor he was controlling because he wouldn't let me go to parties. That he intimidated me because he questioned where I was going. I wanted freedom, so I made him the villain. And everyone believed me. My dad isn't what you think he is the most honorable man I've ever known. He loved Maya like his own daughter. He set boundaries because he cared. And I watched the community destroy him for being a good parent. I'm dying, and my biggest regret is that I didn't defend him louder. I was scared. I was sick. I was weak. But Richard was never wicked. He was only ever good. My dad, I destroyed your life because I was a selfish teenager who didn't want a curfew. Mom got sicker partly because of the stress I caused. I killed her. Not you. Me. She was sobbing now. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The church was silent except for Maya's crying. Then, slowly, people began to weep, not just for Susan, but for what they'd done to me. The accusations they'd believed. The condemnation without evidence. The neighbors who'd turned away. The co-workers who'd whispered. They'd all participated in destroying an innocent man. I stood and walked to Maya. She collapsed into my arms, and we held each other in front of Susan's casket, crying for everything we'd lost, her mother, my wife, the year of hell we'd endured, the family we'd broken. I forgive you, I whispered. She'd want me to forgive you. Because despite everything, Maya was still just a child who'd made a terrible mistake. After the service, person after person approached me. Apologizing. Crying. Asking for forgiveness. My boss offered my job back. Neighbors invited me home. But the damage was done. Susan was gone. A year of my life was destroyed. Innocence, once questioned, never fully returns. Maya gave me a letter Susan had written to me, separate from her funeral message. In it, she thanked me for 15 years of love. She apologized for doubting me, even for a moment. She asked me to help Maya become the person she was meant to be, to not let her drown in guilt. You were never wicked, Susan wrote. You were what every stepfather should be: present, caring, and willing to be the villain if it meant keeping our daughter safe. The world called you a monster for being a good man. I hope they see the truth now. I hope they see what I always saw, a man worth loving. I folded the letter carefully. The wicked stepfather everyone feared was just a man who'd tried to be a good parent. The truth shocked everyone, including those who'd been too quick to judge, too eager to condemn, too willing to destroy a life based on a teenager's lie. Susan was right about one thing: I couldn't escape what happened. But at least now, people knew I'd been trying to escape false accusations, not real crimes. Sometimes the truth comes too late to save what matters. But it can still restore what was lost: a name, a reputation, and the knowledge that we did the right thing, even when everyone thought we were wrong.